What is up, everybody? Tasteless here with a cast for you on the map Polypoid. This is Rush versus Best. Played, I think, 10 days ago on the ladder. If you ever want to join me on my Twitch channel where I cast these live, you can find me at Tasteless TV. And if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. We have our Protoss here on the bottom right. Get my ugly mug out of here. Oh, this one. Okay. Yeah, sorry, we have Best down here in the bottom right. We've got Rush down here in the top left. Rush has been a rising star here with the Terran race, especially since Protoss has, Flash has, you know, not really been able to take up all the oxygen in the tournament room. And I like his playstyle. He's been very, very successful. Best is, you know, look, he's one of the best Protoss is. He has managed to disappoint ASL after ASL. Although he's brought us amazing games, he has never really been able to achieve the heights that we've expected of him. We would have thought he would have been an ASL champion a long time ago. The other Protosses have had their moments to shine, and while Best seems to occasionally have some of the greatest Protoss games ever, he doesn't seem to be able to consistently deliver enough of them to allow him to propel himself forward in a tournament format. But this should be an interesting one. We saw they were both chatting with each other earlier. Obviously aware of, you know, that they're facing off against each other. So this is going to be a fun game. It is one where both players know each other's playstyles very well. Not just do these guys compete in major live tournaments like the ones you probably follow on ASL, but there are basically nightly online matches with the best, probably dozen to 15 pro gamers. And these guys would be in that echelon. So they play a lot of games against each other, which means occasionally there's going to be mind games going on here that, you know, we can't keep up with because they've had so many matches back to back. This is a Nexus first opening. It was Nexus on 12, followed up with a Gateway. There are several different lines you can play from this build order. So some players go 2 gate, some go gas, some go forge, and this is going to be the gate gas variation. Now, Rush's play so far is very normal. He's going to take 2 SCVs off of gas once he has enough gas to make the factory. The SCV is going to come down. Is he going to scout the bottom right? This is kind of crazy. He might actually cross scout. This is one of the rare scouts that you see. A lot of times players will scout cross spawns first if they're not going to go in a clockwise or counterclockwise pattern. So this is really bad for Rush. For one, he's going to scout his opponent last. For two, he's going to scout last. This was a greedy build that Best is going to get away with. And point number 3, this build for Protoss is strongest when you're really far away from the Terran. So I'm really interested now from Rush's perspective, what exactly he wants to try to do here. How is he going to play? It looks like it's going to be about maybe 3 minutes and 30 seconds before he has even the opportunity to process what's happening in this game and try to react. So he's going to see the Nexus. And at this point in time, Terran has only just now started the command center. So, without a doubt, this is a Protoss-favored opening. Not only was it cross-spawn Nexus first, but late scout, so Rush had no way to react. Keep in mind that until you confirm that Nexus, Protoss could very well be cheesing you. There could be gateways hidden outside your base, maybe a quick DT rush, maybe a quick Dragoon range rush. You just don't know. Proxy Reaver. So this is, you know, a great moment, especially if you're a Terran, to try to learn how exactly do Terrans play from this. Does Rush want to play from behind where, you know, it's a game of catch-up? He has to try to play perfectly. He has to hope the Protoss extends. Does Rush cut corners? Maybe he doesn't go for any detection or try to be greedy. Maybe he hides a third Nexus, command center, excuse me. I don't know. So we've got Dragoon range about halfway done. One feature about the very early Nexus builds from Protoss is that they have to get the gas early because their gas starts mining so late. They need to play catch up here as far as trying to get the rest of their tech out. And I think we might actually have a third command center. This is a really fun way to play. It's actually one of the reasons why I stopped messing with Nexus first, is that I have a hard time versus this if they're very good at laying mines. I was just talking about how gas is late very often when you go for a Nexus first. And of course, Best, probably assuming that, you know, Terran might try to all in from here, rushed into Dragoon range. So the Robo coming a little bit later. That means there's really no way to deal with these mines that are being littered very strategically across the map. Because you can't really do anything against those mines, there's really no way to stop this third command center. Now, I might have missed it, and this is one of the, I guess, disadvantages about when you cast solo and you're observing. I don't know if Protoss actually saw this, but Protoss might very well assume it, because this seems to be the standard way to approach Quick Nexus, is to take a third command center and protect yourself with mines. I think Best's response to this is pretty smart. He knows he's already ahead of base, so why not just keep growing? It's a game where both sides are very well protected. I think for either race, in a perfect world, the other player would overextend into him and the game would end, but that's not going to be the kind of game we're seeing here now. Instead, it's going to be, you know, a pretty dramatic mid-game and late game. We've got, I believe this is the first observer out. Now think about that. It's 6 minutes and 30 seconds. That's about when you get your first opportunity to see spider mines on the map, to try to scout and figure out what's going on. Nexus first, although it does come with a lot of potency economically, it is not without its own problems. It's not without, you know, the ambiguity of what exactly is happening on the other side of the map. So the vultures are going to come out. Notice that the observer didn't stop and clean the mines. I think right now in in Best's mind, it's probably more important to just try to, you know, figure out where exactly the Terran is. The second factory is going to be finishing after the third base is done. So that's how crazy of a macro game this is. The Dragoons cleared the first wave of mines. They were over here. But siege mode is done. Everything's timed out so nicely on the Terran side. Let's take a quick check back at home for Protoss. So we're up to 3 gateways. Air weapons immediately. Whoa, I am so glad I actually did not miss that. So, you know, it's kind of easy to understand development in a game where, like, a Terran does a 2-base all-in and the Protoss has 3 bases and they just got to hold it. This is kind of a funny game. They're both macroing up and gearing up so hard, but I guess on the 3 gates and soon to be 4 that Protoss is going to get, yeah, why not just go for carriers? There's enough Dragoons that you could plow into the tanks and few vultures that are in the game if Terran moved. And if not, you're going to at least get up to, I would assume, 4 carriers in time to try to fight him. While this is happening, the 4th base... Oh, shit. I just spilled water everywhere. Okay, I think it's all right. It wasn't that much. Breaking the 4th wall here. The 4th Nexus is going to be taken down here at 6 o'clock. And is Terran going to try to take a 4th over here? Looks like he wants to. I'm actually surprised Best didn't push further forward here. So we've got the 2 carriers started. We've got air weapons already almost done. When you get air weapons level 2, that's when it really hurts the Terran in fights. Is this a 3rd Stargate? Yes, it is. Will there be a 4th Stargate? Or is that just something I would do because I'm bad? Back at home, 2, 4, 6, 8 factories. But I see vultures. I don't see Goliaths. We do have the armory. That should be +2. Let me just check here. That's +2. +1 armor is coming. And, I mean, it's sizing up to be a wild one. Let's confirm Protoss's tech. We have weapons coming. It feels late. It is late. Something's got to be late when you play like this. We have 3 here, 6, and 8 gateways. Sorry, 9 gateways coming. Protoss is doing a little bit of housekeeping on the map, trying to clean up the mines. That's going to make a vulnerability here. I mean, the Zealots can be punished very easily here with the Vultures. And, you know, honestly, it can be forgettable to lose Zealots, but that is really where you're going to be able to, you know, trample the tanks later on. So, a bit of a loss there for the Protoss. I thought more probes were going to fall, but he's still okay. Plus air weapons level 2 comes. Let's check the factories. Okay, so I think he scanned. We might have missed it, but I believe he actually does see what's going on here. Now, when you rush for carriers, maybe I shouldn't even say rush, because this is really just him teching into carriers. It's a different game than if you see somebody who's, you know, they've got 2 bases and they're trying to run into carriers. Maybe they have a Reaver. It's like a little bit cheesy. It's kind of a momentum play. This is a situation where the carriers are actually going to combo nicely into the Dragoons and Zealots. And you can basically fight the Terran head on. It's tricky. The Dragoons and Zealots beat the Goliaths. The tanks, especially in siege mode, beat the Dragoons and the Zealots. The Vultures really beat the Zealots, but you get what I'm saying. So it a lot of times comes down to control. We have... It's going to be 5 carriers in a second as these two warp in. 5 is a lot. And after we have those 5, it's going to be 8. Now, 8, especially 10, is where it gets really hard for the Terran to get a lot done. You're not really trading when you're fighting carriers. The carriers can be microed infinitely. Okay, so here's the play. Oh! Didn't spoil. We're going to have a big wide shot here. You want to force the Terran to siege and then back away. You want the Terran to fight for every bit of ground you've got. Any snipe you get specifically onto a tank is huge. You might be wondering why the tanks, why not the Goliaths? Because if you get rid of the tanks, the Goliaths and Vultures just die to the Dragoons and Zealots. Now, it seems like there might not be quite enough interceptors out versus this number of Goliaths. One idea that Protoss can try to execute here is to run around, but I don't know that that's happening just yet. Both sides are nearing a max out point. By the way, the mines over here are really good because it stops a run around. It looks like Best may have lost control of some of his units here. Rush is really boxing him in, and this is going to be the target. Now, keep in mind, this is a high ground area. So, I mean, you do get an advantage here as far as firing down onto the low ground versus what they have to do. He's letting an interceptor spill out. He's spamming target on his Nexus to get a few more interceptors out. And here we go. Here's going to be the fight. He wants to try to get rid of these tanks right here in the front. He's gotten rid of 3. Can he get rid of this one up here? If he can, he might be able to hang back with the Dragoons and buy a little bit of time. But I still see this tank over here that I've got clicked on at the top. Now we've got 7 carriers. There's more coming, although they're not out just yet. The Nexus has lost a little bit of shields, but, you know, it seems like he's still kind of okay. Another target over here. Again, if he can't have all the interceptors out, excuse me, if he can't have all the interceptors out and floating, he's going to be in trouble. He's going to have a serious problem. Because you need to have enough spilled out so that they can actually take, you know, they can all dive on the Goliaths, I guess is what I'm trying to say. This is a 4-base Protoss, as we see. Soon to be 5. Terran's already on 4 bases. This base was taken a while ago. I might not have zeroed in on that. Meanwhile, the Vultures are going to come out, deny that base. I don't like this for Best. The only thing he's got going for him is he's about to have 10 carriers. In fact, he's literally about to get 10 carriers. But sometimes the Terran can basically macro through this. So we've got a game where the Protoss never took here. Never took here. There's one thing we know about late game PvT. It's that you're probably going to win by just having the other mains. One other thing to keep in mind is that with Protoss kind of boxed in right now, there isn't a lot of vision on these other bases, so you don't even know if Terran's going there. The Vulture sacrifice is probably a great idea. The reality is that this is just so much less probes. This is now a Protoss on 45 probes. That's crazy. This goes to show you the value, by the way, of putting pylons here and blocking this off. I feel like this is almost over. But I guess until the carriers are killed off, never count the other player out. God, that's a lot of Goliaths. This is crazy, man. You know, carriers can beat anything, but there's a point where if you just have so many Goliaths, it kind of... It almost doesn't matter. And this may be one of those moments. Look at the moving shot here. He's going to be able to get not one, but two? Yeah, he gets two carriers. And this is a real Tasis move right here. This looks like one of my games where I have the thing control grouped in there and it just gets obliterated. So he's going to try to stay out here. There is movement on the map. He's got Dragoons and an Observer here to try to clear this out. You got to be careful over here in this spot as well, because you could end up with the carriers kind of stuck over this pond, and they can't do anything. And that's pretty checkmating. Back over here, I mean, he's got some serious Templars. Oh my god. This is insane, dude. Now, this actually changes everything, because that's where all the tanks were. Goliaths are actually terrible against just Dragoons and Templars. It's like if you just had Hydras. Like, what beats Hydras? Dragoons and Templars are fine. Plus a couple Zealots, and we know that that's going to be coming out here. There they are now. So, I actually am saying there's still a shot here. Now, he needs to start running quickly. He has to salvage these carriers. I even question pulling back over here. I think he underestimates how long this big line of Goliaths actually is. There is a counterattack coming over here, or maybe a flank is a better term. And I think now Best realizes, whoa, there's a lot more over here than I had expected. The Goliaths are going to drive it back. By the way, just to do a quick analysis of where we're at economically, it is 5 bases versus 4. So Protoss weathered the storm, and Terra never got a 5th base up. This base is going to dry up. This base, funnily enough, is actually going to dry up before this one is. But very soon, you know, in the next couple of minutes, Terran's going to be on 1 base. Now, the problem when you have just Goliaths, or maybe not that many tanks versus this, is suddenly Psystorm becomes really easy to cast. So he's bought a decent amount of time. And this next minute, I think, is going to be extremely important. Because Terran's tank count's been reduced. I see 5 tanks total over here. Now 4, now 3. And again, you know, tanks are what smash Dragoons and most of what the ground army is. And he's just, you know, these stray tanks in the front. Looks like he misclicked and didn't retarget in time. But if he can just play keep away here with these carriers, by the way, about to go back up to 10. Are these on +3? I don't think I can actually check. So he's getting armor. I think it's safe to assume that Protoss is on +3 attack. This base is being taken, and the Observer sees it. I almost missed that. That's pretty big. Because although Protoss can fight this off, you can't really do anything with the carriers versus this. One way to beat carriers from the Terran's perspective is to just kind of take the whole map. The carriers are almost like a super unit, like a hero unit or something. And you can micro a carrier so much, it's almost like it's a MOBA. You know, like you can just sit there and spam out moves all day and eke out extra damage, but it can't be everywhere at once, right? And so you kind of play around that. You play the map more than, you know, the unit itself. Carriers are going to come back up now. And kills like this are pretty good, but this amount of Goliaths, I think, will actually obliterate the interceptors. All right, so far so good. We've got 10 carriers playing this out. Whatever he can trade out, he should. He does push through here. Best does. Both sides are maxed out. Both sides with a healthy worker count. These SCVs have been transferred here. Mind out. Mind out. Well, you know what I mean. Mind out, basically. The Terran is going to chase the Protoss army down here, and I think Best has the right idea. It's a game of cat and mouse, and he's the mouse. Do damage, run for it, look for opportunities elsewhere. And he's basically got the carrier fleet coming up here. Now, this is a pretty big catch. He's going to try to get the kill. He gets the cancel. Cannons up here, gateways up here is going to be the way to play. Terran decides to not engage with the chase and instead take a fight over here. Now, I think he can get this base, but it's a low-value base. This base is almost mined out. The value of this base has almost entirely been sapped away at... All right, he's going to come in with the carries once again. He goes right in there, gets the second tank. Good kiting. Crazy game. Counterattack. And it wouldn't be Brood War if a Dragoon wasn't blocking it. He gets the vessel. He's going to get the tank. How many more could he get? By the way, he does get up the ramp. But Terran has a base at 12. Okay, we've got Vulture... I'm sorry, not Vultures. Templars out here. How did I mix that up? Okay, so this is a lot of damage coming up here. And I gotta say, Best is kind of playing out of his mind. He's really taken so much value out with the carriers. By the way, he's gonna be up to 12 here. Wait, 8, 9, yeah, he's gonna have 12 carriers soon. Now again, when it's just Goliaths, the complexity of the army there for the Terran is, it's gone. I mean, you just fight it with everything. It's when the, is this where he's gonna just give up? Complaints about the carriers here. Okay, hold on. We're gonna have a big interception here. Tanks not in siege. GG is said. And there you go. Crazy game. Hope you enjoyed that. Ah, my nose itches. Thank you for watching that. If you enjoyed this kind of content, like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be putting more content out like this in the future. StarCraft related, esports related, RTS related. See this Gosu shirt I've got down here? And the mic I keep accidentally hitting? You can get this shirt at tastelessthreads.com, along with a bunch of other cool stuff. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in a future video. Bye-bye.